Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories. I'm Shara Goswick, your host, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today on the podcast, I speak with Denise Dielwart, who is from Australia. She surprised me. I did not know that's where she was from, but her accent is beautiful, and I love talking to her today. It's not a typical conversation that I've had so far. We talk about grief today. Denise has developed a program called the Flow Grief Method, where she walks with women, specifically widows, as they are walking through their grief. And this is something that I think everybody experiences at some point or another in their life, not necessarily the loss of a spouse, but definitely grief. It's something that we all go through. And our word of the week this week
It's the word of the week.
Is loss. We've all lost something or someone. And I think that everybody deals with it differently. But Denise explains her journey and why she wanted to get help for herself and how she's using what she's learned to help other people. I think what she's doing is very important. It says in Psalms 34:18 that the Lord is near the brokenhearted, and I believe that. You know, we all go through some sort of broken heart at some point in our lives, probably multiple times of our lives. But the Lord is near that. And I want you to know that I'm saying a prayer for you today. If you're hurting and you are brokenhearted, that you will find the help that you need, that you will get the help that you need, and that you'll be able to move on from whatever loss you're experiencing right now. I thank you for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi, how are you?
Good at you. Great
Good.
to see you, meet you.
Yes,
Connect.
yes, yes. I'm so excited to talk to you. I didn't realize you had such a beautiful accent.
Oh yeah, I'm it's a bit of a mix. I'm originally from South Africa,
Oh, wow.
and then immigrated to Australia. So I have a mix of the both. So I've been in Australia for 30 odd years. So, I've got people still say to me, "Where are you from?" Australians, "Where are you from?" It's like,
Yeah.
I've been here 30 years. Can't you hear?
Is is that's not where you are right now though, is it?
Yeah, I'm in Australia. Yeah.
What time is it over there?
6 o'clock in the morning.
Huh. That's crazy. I
I
talked to
know.
somebody in Australia at 6 in the morning my time, but it was nighttime her time. I didn't know that's where you were. I really had no idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Six
so
o'clock.
funny.
Yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, it's thank goodness we're hitting summer now.
Yes. Yes.
It's light outside. It's not dark. When I do my day starts at 6, and then I get up in winter, and it's like, oh my God, it's so cold. It's dark.
Yes. This is probably a dumb question, but I really don't know the answer. Do y'all get snow over there?
In certain parts. In
Yeah.
certain parts. So in the lower parts. So where I am, I'm in the tropics. I'm in Queensland.
Okay.
So like Florida, that sort of area, that's my kind of weather.
I gotcha. I gotcha. It's
Yeah,
nice. That's nice.
it's nice.
Well,
I
I'm in
know.
Texas and it's not cold here
No,
at all.
you also get the heat, don't you? You get
Yes,
the
we get the
100
heat.
degree days. Yeah, we do as
Yes.
well. Yeah.
You know, I am talking to people all over the world. Like I said, I've spoken to somebody in Australia. I spoke to someone in Latvia. I spoke to an author in England, and I'm speaking to people who are helping other people in unique ways.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this almost 2 years, and I haven't spoken to anybody about grief. And so I think that's why yours stood out to me, because that is something that everybody deals with on some level. And
Oh,
I like to look at my time with my guests as conversations, just a conversation. I have a handful of questions, but really, I want to know about your method that you have created, the flow method, about helping people live their lives and walk out of that grief. I want to know why you started that and what exactly it is.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I lost my husband in 2009, really suddenly to a blood clot.
Wow.
I was only 51, he was only 55. We got married young, so all the kids were out of the house. We already had grandkids because they had their kids young, and we were just starting our next life of just the two of us.
Right.
And we both worked from home. So we saw each other, getting married young. We actually grew up together.
Mhm.
We often used to say, we're bringing each other up because we were kids when we got married.
We
Looking
were
back,
we were too.
When I
Yeah.
look back at our wedding photos, I think, man, I was 18, 19 when I got married, and I was, and then had my daughter when I was, well, how old was I? I was 20, is about a couple of months before my 21st birthday.
Mhm.
So, and then they repeated the pattern. So they've
Right.
repeated the pattern, and now their children are repeating the pattern. So I've got 9 grandsons, and I've
Mm.
now got 3 3/4 great grandchildren.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome.
So it's a blessing to be able to be alive still and see the great grandkids,
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of good in that. But after my husband passed away, I had gone through the loss of both my parents. I'm an only child, so when my dad died, I had my mum and I had Martin, and I was only young. I was 18 when my dad died. He didn't see my wedding or anything. He died a week before my birthday, my 18th birthday. But I had my mum, and I still had my support family around me. And then we immigrated from South Africa to Australia. And then my mum passed away within the first year of us being here, because she came with us.
Mm.
And yes, it hit me hard being an only child of now God. I felt like an orphan. For the first time in my life, I felt like an orphan. And I remember Martin, my husband, saying to me, "Don't be silly, you've got us, you've got me, and you've got the kids. How can you be an orphan?" But he didn't get that, because he came from a family of 5. So he
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
understand that I now feel like an orphan. I've got nobody to share my grief with, nobody to share some mum with.
Yeah.
And then in 2009, when he passed away, oh my God, that was just another level. That was just another level of grief.
Yeah.
Because when when your husband or life partner passes away, you lose your whole life. You don't just, your whole life, your whole way of being, your whole you is gone.
Mm.
You die as well. And this is where I struggled. And this is where so many widows struggle
Yeah.
with grief, that they want to continue their life that they had with their husband, and they can't.
Yeah.
People expect you to just continue. Okay, he's gone now. He's passed away. Now get over it, and just wait for time, and it'll all heal.
Right.
But unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen that way. I struggled, and I struggled to put on my brave face. My mother always used to say to me, "Denise, just soldier on, just soldier on. You'll be okay. Don't worry about it. Just soldier on." So with that belief, I just soldiered on.
Mhm.
I was strong for everybody else. I was strong for my kids because they had just lost a father. I was strong for my grandkids. They had just lost granddad, so I never really addressed my grief. I was there for everybody. Being
Yeah.
mums, that's what we do. That's what we do when we're a
Right.
mum. But if our children lose their father, we're there for them. We don't
Right.
think that we need to be there for us. And I started losing things. I started forgetting things. I started repeating myself.
Mm.
All, mind you, while I was still continuing, because I was a bookkeeper for small business. That was my business. That's what I did.
Oh, wow.
So I worked from home doing bookwork and spreadsheets and taxes for small business. I don't
Wow.
know how I did it, but I did it. We go
Right.
into automatic mode. We just go into
Yeah.
auto mode. That's it. Just, what do I need to do? Oh, I've got this client, I've got that client, I've got this client. Okay, do. Until one day my daughter said to me, my younger daughter, she said to me, "Mum, there's something seriously wrong with you." And I said, "What do you mean there's something seriously wrong with me? I'm fine. And it's you guys that I'm worried about." Again, just, it's you
Right.
guys, how are you? And she said, "No, you're repeating yourself.
Mm.
You're losing things." She said, "You're just not yourself.
Yeah.
That you need to go and see somebody. You need to go and speak to somebody." So she booked an appointment, came with me, basically put me in the car, kicking and screaming, because I was fine. There's nothing wrong with me.
Right.
I'll just wait for time. I'll get better. I promise you, and that's the belief we have, because that's what everybody's telling you.
Yeah.
And then, and then of course you've got the 5 stages of grief that everybody says, "Oh, what stage are you in? Oh, you're in this stage, or you're in that stage. Don't worry, you'll be okay." And I went and saw the doctor. Doctor prescribed pills for me, those little magic pills, which I never took because I thought, no, I need to feel my pain.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a zombie doing people's books. For me, my alertness was really, really key.
Sure.
Not realizing that I'm not really alert as what I should be. And then and I saw a therapist. I saw a psychologist, which is fantastic for the initial stages, which I now realize.
Right.
For the initial stages of grief, to talk to somebody, to get
Yeah.
it over and out of your chest is great, but you can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
And that's where it's about 6 months, I forget, time just go, I was in such la la land at that stage. It was about 3 or 6 months. And I said to her, when am I going to feel better? Because I don't feel better. I feel fantastic when I'm talking to you, but I'm not feeling better.
Yeah.
And she looked at me shocked and she said, Denise, you're grieving the loss of your husband. This is going to take time.
Yeah.
You haven't even started or gone through the stages of grief yet. You're just in the beginning stages. It takes at least 5 to 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, I thought, I'm 51 now, 5 to 7 years. I'm going to be in my 60s. Oh my God, I can't do this. But that was the greatest gift that she gave me because it woke me up to, hang on, there's got to be something else.
Right.
There's got to be something else.
Yeah.
And that's where my searching journey began of what else can I do? How else can I heal?
Yeah.
And I was already on the self-help and the Tony Robbins trajectory and heal yourself. And look, both Martin and I we were both emotionally mature enough to know that life, we got to do the best we can and so on. So to me, that was actually my anchor. That's what held me back because I thought I could do it on my own.
Right.
I've got this. I've got this. I'll just be positive and I'll just do affirmations and I'll be fine. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. We need somebody that can actually pull us through. So yeah, so that's basically how I started my journey and how I began to heal me and not my grief.
Right. In our pain, in our suffering, in the hard things that we go to, that's the best thing that can happen is that we can help others through what we go through. And so I love that. But tell me how this program works. What First of all, who would you recommend this for? Who do you think this program is best for?
It's best for anybody that's grieving. Anybody that's grieving. I predominantly work with widows because I'm a widow.
Yeah.
I do also have the academy, which has got I've trained practitioners in my flow method now,
Mm-hmm.
and they do all modalities. I've got a lady that's lost a child. I've got other widows, so that have certified in my flow method,
Yeah.
and they're now helping others as well. So
That's awesome.
it's across the board. It's for anybody that has lost a loved one.
So how does it work? That
Oh.
basically, without going into all the details, how does it
No,
work?
we can't go here. It's not going into all the details.
Not all the details, but basically, how does it work?
Basically, so let me just go back a little bit. So how I discovered the flow method was that I became, funnily enough, a life coach. After all of this, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to be a second coming of Tony Robbins, and I'm going to be a life coach.
There's lots of them. There's lots of them out there. Yeah.
But my idea was not to coach others. It was to coach me so that
Yeah.
I could get the tools. I wanted the meat to know how to heal me because I recognized that I need to heal, not my grief.
Yeah.
So I then did an extensive human behavior life coaching NLP program, which was 3 years in the making.
Wow.
And I I went, oh, this is great. I'll work with people in business. I'll become a business coach.
Mhm.
Because I was a bookkeeper. Hey, it's
Yeah.
natural progression, isn't it?
Yeah.
And everybody said to me, why are you working with people in business? You should coach widows, you should help widows. And I went, no, I don't want to do that. I'm healed, I'm fine. Hey, look at me, I'm okay. Don't want to do grief, don't want to do grief. But there was this nagging tapping on my shoulder. You know how we get that? You got to work with widows. You got to work with widows. Come on, come on, come on. And that's how my journey started. I just eventually said, you know what, universe, I'll just work with widows. Whatever, just show me the way. And then, of course, it progressed, and it grew from there. So from widows, it went to children, mothers with children, and so on and so forth. And then the academy was born. But when I started, I thought, how did I heal myself? Yes, I became a life coach and did all the stuff and all the rest, but how did I really heal? What was my road forward? So I reverse engineered how I healed so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I realized, we have to feel.
Right.
I felt my grief. I gave myself permission to feel. And that's the first letter in the flow method.
Yeah.
If we don't feel, we can't heal. We can't acknowledge what we're going through.
Right.
Now, feeling is not just, oh, I feel sad today. Oh, I'm crying. Oh, I miss him. Oh, a song came on the radio. And it's not that at all. Feeling is actually going beneath that. What am I really? Where is it? Is that anger? Is it sorrow? Is it guilt? Where does that come from? So it's really going deep.
Mm-hmm.
Once we acknowledge and feel, okay, this is what I'm feeling, now we can let go of that because we know what we're letting go of.
Right.
We're not letting go of the love, the life we had together. None of that. We're letting go of the hurt, the emotion, the sadness, the guilt, whatever it is that comes up. We're letting go of that. And that's a process that we work together with, of letting go. But now it's all very well that we felt it and we've let it go. Now what?
Yeah.
Now we learn to overcome.
Mm.
And that middle part, the O of the overcoming, we cannot even begin that until we've felt it and we've let it go.
Yeah.
Now we can overcome. We start rediscovering who we are. We start, who am I? What do I want for me? What does my life look like now? We start mapping out our life forward. And then the W, which is for whole, that is where we're stepping into our future. We're living our best life. We're reimagining our life.
Yeah.
So that's the process.
I love that. Would you say, I know that your program is like an 8-week program, but would you say that the time that it takes for people to get through all of this is different for each person? I mean, do you think it takes longer for some people than?
It depends how long they take to go through the program.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Within the very first week, my clients, every single one of them, have an aha moment within the very first week of us working together.
Wow.
In the very first week.
Yeah.
I had a beautiful lady that went through the program when COVID just started.
Oh, wow.
And she was in lockdown, and she said, well, all I've got to do is this program. So she went through it in 8 weeks. Very rare. It's very rare because, people life happens. So she went through it in 8 weeks. And in 8 weeks, she was a different person.
Wow.
When her husband died, she needed the GPS to actually tell her how to get home if she went in, because you get brain fog, widow fog. And that's with all death, but our brain shuts down.
Yeah.
And we go into la la land.
Yeah.
And she's still with me today. She's still, she's in the inner circle, and she's still growing, and she's still becoming that amazing woman.
Right.
So it's ongoing. It's not something that, okay, now I'm healed, because you never really heal from the grief.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Would you say
It's-
it just continues on? It's not something that just stops.
No, because it's such an oxymoron to say heal your grief, but you're actually releasing your grief. That's why you're releasing it. You're letting it go. It's always there in your heart. Always. You'll always, because that person's there. How do you suddenly go, well, okay, I'm healed now. I'm over it. You can't get over it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's what society expects, because that's the way we've been conditioned to believe, that you got to go through the 5 stages of grief, and then it takes time, and then eventually you'll find, you'll get there.
Yeah. We had a sudden death in our family a couple of years ago. And, you know, we've all kind of, all of the couples, all of the marriages have kind of had conversations about what if, because it was sudden and nobody obviously was expecting it. And what if this does happen? And my husband, we were married at 17 and 18, and we've been married for
So
32 years. So very young, very young when we
nice.
got married. Kind of feel the same way. We grew up together,
Yeah.
and he used to make jokes about, when I'm not here, you can do this. When I'm not here, and he would kind of make a joke about it. But now he'll tell me things. Okay, you need to know how to do this in case something happens and I'm not here. And now it's not funny anymore. Now it's okay. We gotta, not that we're preparing for that, but you kind of have to be aware and know that we don't know. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. We don't know what's coming.
No.
So I think what you're doing is so important. We kind of all, I don't know that anybody really believes they're invincible, but we don't think about how quickly things can
No.
change.
My life changed in an instant,
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can either get stuck in that
Mm-hmm.
or we can move through it.
Right.
It's a choice.
Right.
It is a choice. And, you know, I have beautiful, full ladies, beautiful widows in my group that are 12, 13 years, and they're still crying. Oh, I miss him. I wish he was here. My life's not the same. And I want to, I say to them and I reply to them, yes, your life is not the same. It can't be. It's like when you
Right.
got married, your life changed.
Yeah.
When you had kids, your life changed.
Yeah.
Often when we have kids, we long for the days that we didn't have them. But you can't give them back. You have to,
You
life
do.
goes
You
on.
do.
You have to,
Yeah.
weather that storm, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
God forbid when they get to teenage years, that storm even gets rougher. But you have to weather that storm.
Yeah.
And it's the same with losing a loved one. You have to weather that storm. You have to go up and down, because it's up and down.
Yeah.
And like you said, when you lost somebody really suddenly, the what ifs come into play. If
Mhm.
only. I wasn't with Martin when he passed away. What if I was there? What if? Maybe I could have. But how do you know somebody's got a
Right.
blood clot? You
Yeah.
can't stop that. That's not something
Right.
you say, oh, I just seen you got a blood clot. Sit down, take it easy.
Yeah.
It's just, boom, gone. Isn't it? Unfortunately, traditional therapy does not help that.
Yeah.
It can help because what traditional therapy, and the difference between what I do and what traditional therapy does, is that traditional therapy, as I said, is great for the initial stages. If you just want to
Yeah.
talk about,
Right.
but we can't talk our way out of grief, because every time we talk about it or we share our story, we're building neural pathways in our brain.
Mm.
And that cements that belief, that pathway. Yep, you're a widow, or you've lost your child, or you lost a parent, or you've lost somebody. Yeah, that's terrible. That's a horrible thing that's happened. And you keep repeating that. And the more we repeat that and repeat it and repeat it, it starts becoming our identity.
Yeah.
So we have to scratch that record and we have to say, what happened to you? And what I do is I say, okay, it's terrible. It happened to me too. I know what you're going through. Let's
Right.
draw a line in the sand and move you forward.
Yeah.
So important to move forward, because your loved one doesn't want to see you crying for years and years and years. They want to see you happy.
Yeah.
They want to see you living.
Yeah.
And what are you choosing?
Right. That's so good what you're doing, because I can imagine that there are probably people going through your program that I don't know how else they would continue to move forward. I mean, there may be people that don't have family or they don't have someone that can help in the way that you're helping. And so I just think it's so important what you're doing. I saw that you have a membership community. Is that for clients so they're able to talk to each other and help one another?
That membership community, everything in my business has just been organic. It really
Yeah.
has been. It hasn't been something that the membership community was born out of. I've got a Facebook group as well,
Mm-hmm.
for widows, and it's got over 7,000 members. And then when COVID hit, everybody was saying how isolated they feel, how lonely they are, how everything.
Yeah.
So it started off really small. as just, a few of us that got together on a Zoom call once a week for an hour.
Yeah.
We used to call it social hour.
Mhm.
And then and then the social hour became 2 hours because we everybody would just hop on from around the world and we would
Yeah.
just talk, not talk about how sad we are.
Right.
That's, we don't go, oh, today, if we are having a bad day, share it, but
Yeah.
I'm there to coach you through. So I help you and
Sure.
coach you through that. And it's now evolved that we spend 2 hours and we go, oh my goodness, it's 2 hours already. It's 2.5 hours sometimes. Like, oh, we've been on here for 2.5 hours.
That's fun though. I'm glad that they have that. That's great.
Yeah, it's a community where specifically widows get together and we talk about stuff. Anniversaries that come up, how you
Yeah.
feeling, what you're celebrating. Some of them have met new people in their life, and how do they navigate that, and what do they do, and
Yeah.
so on. So the inner circle is invaluable for anybody
Sure.
that's ready to start moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And it also gives you an insight to the flow method, what I do.
Yeah.
You can actually see life coaching and me helping somebody through something that they're stuck in.
Right.
That's all
That's
part of it.
wonderful.
Yeah.
There's a woman at my church that told me one time that grief, she lost her daughter and like a few years ago. And she said, grief is like being in a dark room and you never know when, but somebody just comes up and just punches you. It just comes up and punches you and you don't know where it is and you don't know where it's coming from, but it's there. You never know when it's going to hit you.
Yeah.
Did you find that in the beginning? I'm sure probably not as much now, but in the beginning, as you're getting healed, um, maybe it affects you in different ways or it surprises you at
Yeah.
different times. Yeah.
Yeah. It comes out of nowhere. You have this overwhelming, suddenly you want to cry, suddenly you want to
Yeah.
burst into tears. Suddenly you'll be driving somewhere and you'll just suddenly feel this dark cloud come over you.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to have the tools that I teach in the flow method.
Sure.
Because if we don't lift that cloud, it turns into depression very quickly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Very quickly. There's a very fine line between grief and mourning and grieving and loss, feeling that loss, then depression.
Yeah.
Because depression is often masked as grief.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's so important that we heal as quickly as possible or release it as quickly as possible. You never heal from grief. Grief doesn't ever heal.
Right.
Forget about it.
Right.
The key is heal your grief, heal your grief. We cannot heal our grief.
Yeah.
We heal ourselves.
Yeah. The closest person that I've lost is my grandmother.
Yeah.
And I was very close to her and she died 9 years ago. 9 years ago. I was talking to my husband about her the other day, and I still cry when I start talking about her. In fact, I did an episode about her on the podcast, and I cried through the whole episode. I was not planning on that. I didn't think that was going to happen. It's like I can't help it. I
Yeah.
just can't help it. I just miss her so much. And so
Yes.
I can't imagine losing a spouse or, someone that close, how much deeper that grief is.
Yeah.
So I think that what you're doing is so important. And I'm very glad I got to talk to you about this. Like I said, this is not a typical person I talked to, and you surprised me that you're in Australia. So I have a goal to speak to someone in every state in the United States, and I couldn't find where you were from. And I thought I need to ask her what state she's in. I can't put you on my map.
and then you hear my accent and you go, oh, that's not
It's like, huh, that's pretty cool. It's just so funny. I didn't know that. Well, I thank you for talking to me because this was really good. This was important, and I'm excited to share your program. It will be 2 or 3 more weeks before it airs, but I'll send you a link ahead of time to watch it if you want to. You don't have to, but um, and then when it airs, I'll let you know when it airs. It'll be on all listening platforms. It'll be in Spotify and Apple and everything. And I'll make sure to share your website when I share on social media and all those places so that people know where to find you. Because I think this is important. This is really
It is.
important.
I've actually just finished my book.
Oh, How
Um,
exciting.
it's in with the editor at the moment, so
Yay.
it's been like, I need to write a book. I need to write a book. Yeah, I know, I know, I know.
Yeah.
You know how when we get to sit down and they go, "Oh, yeah, whatever."
Yes, I do know.
And you know, and I woke up the other day and I went, my book, I've got to finish it. I've got to finish my
Yeah.
book now. So it's amazing what we can do when we do that. So 2 weeks later, I've finished my book and it's
Yay.
in with the editor. So
Good.
that'll all go up on my website and
Okay,
everything as
good.
once
Wonderful.
that's yeah. So and
Wonderful.
that's filled with practical stuff to do.
Yes.
It's not a storybook of how I healed. It's actually my journey, much of what we've spoken about today, you
Sure.
know?
Well, good. I'll be excited to share that as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking to me. I hope you enjoy your day. You're just getting started.
I'm just
So
getting started. I've
you're
just
just
got my
getting
coffee
started.
here and I'll
There you
finish
go.
that off and get
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I will get in touch with you as soon as this is edited and ready for you to watch.
fantastic. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
You too. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.